Hi YouTubers, my name is Kevin, you're watching The Royal We. In this message I want to tackle two issues for you. Coming out of a toxic, abusive relationship, it's real easy to want to ask the question, how does a narcissist have the power to pull you off of your path in life? How do they have the ability to seduce you and lure you into this world that you never thought you would have any part of? How do they do that? Right? It's as if they have some kind of superpower. I assure you they do not. And we'll talk more about this in this message. Additionally, in the message, we also want to talk about how to get your power back and where your power exists. Right? So these are two very important issues that we need to have a full understanding of as we heal from toxic abusive relationships. By the way, as you're healing, give yourself patience to heal and process all of these things. This is going to be a deep one. Now, the reality, talking about the first issue, what is the power that narcissists have? They have no power. There is absolutely no power that a narcissistic person has. There is no magic. It's none of that stuff. What they have done is tapped into something in your life and in my life, something that we all have in common. And that is, are you ready for it? A fallen, broken, sinful nature. I'm going to say it again. A fallen, broken, sinful nature. Now, for those of you who are believers and have gone to church, you're going to understand exactly what I mean. For those of you who are not of any faith, that's okay. You're more than welcome to gain what you can from this message anyways. But understanding that we are fallen, broken, sinful in nature is simply to state that it is very easy for us to do things wrong. Why? Because we are instinctual beings in the flesh here on earth. We have instinctual desires, fleshly desires. When we talk about things like sex and things like scarcity and wanting supplies and wanting to survive and wanting to be something, these are all very fleshly, very instinctual needs. Many of them are misunderstood, but we have them. And so they're inside of us. And inside of us are all kinds of chemicals and things that rule and govern over these things. Yet, we in our mind and our heart and our soul rule the chemicals. Once we learn how to. Okay? So what's happened is that a narcissistically abusive person has come along and has tapped into a place where they were able to have direct access to these basic natural needs. So these desires for things like sex, these desires for things like the validation, these desires for things like wanting to be comforted in this life. The narcissist speaks to those things. It's not magic. It's not a superpower. It's possibly things that you have been denying or you've had control over, but narcissists hate it when somebody has control over their emotions because they do not. And so they find the chink in your armor, they find the crack where they can get in, and they work that spot until they just bring out your instinctual needs. And what you are facing when you're struggling with toxic narcissistic abuse is many of you are struggling and facing your own instinctual needs. Things like fighting, that's something that is instinctual. You have it inside of you. Things like engaging in sex outside of marriage sex is something that is instinctual, so it's there inside of you already. The question is not, what is the power that narcissists have over you to draw you into these things? The question is, what happened to your commitment to your own values, morals, and integrity? That's the question. The point of what I'm trying to make here is that it is easy to fall into temptation. It takes no special power to draw you into temptation. We live every day of our lives walking on the verge of some form of temptation in our lives. Literally, as we get up from the morning, we walk to work, on one side of us there will always be a temptation of some form. But right here with us and on the other side over here is our commitment to ourselves, to our families, to our integrity, to our morals, to our values. And that is all that we have to combat the pull towards temptation. Narcissists are over here. They are like these loud, barking little children, is what they are, pulling, saying, come and play, come and play, come and play out in this temptation. Come and play out here, it's fun. right? And like I said, there's no special power in that. It's easy. It's just a draw on what's natural and instinctual. Listen, narcissists aren't the only people and individuals that do this. There are giant corporations that do this. Las Vegas, Nevada has built its whole empire on this draw, flashy lights, that temptation, the dances, everything that's going on in that city pulls one towards that road of temptation. Why? Because it's magical and it's able to use some form of power on people? No. All it does is tickle that spot inside of us. And the only way it can get to that tickle spot is by getting through a chink in our armor. In other words, there's something in our life that feels not quite complete enough, and there's a hole. And so things like Las Vegas, things like the narcissist, things like all of these other things go through that hole and say, come this way where you can have unspeakable pleasures and fun. And we fall for it. So again, that's the easy part. Falling for temptation is easy. We are all prone to it. The difficult thing is to find out how to be committed to your integrity, your morals, and your values. Right? So when you come across narcissists, they will all do the same thing. They will try to seduce you. They will try to lure you in. It's going to be a battle between that and just your commitment to your values and your morals. That's all it takes is commitment. Your commitment will send narcissists fleeing, because against your solid commitment, what can they possibly do? Absolutely nothing. You follow me? Now then, the next issue that I want to talk with you about is, how do you gain power back? How do you focus on your commitment? How do you stay committed to your values, your morals, and your principles in life? And close up all the gaps to where the seductions and the seducers can creep in and narcissists can come in and pull you into their traps, right? Well, the reality is that you need to stop living from an outside perspective and start living from the inside. Too many of us for way too long have been living based on what we receive from the outside. We've been living a life that is a response to the world around us, or a reaction to the world around us. We look at how other people are treating us and we react to that. We look at what other people want and need from us and we react to that. And this is what happens when we get involved with toxic, abusive relationships. We start reacting to them. We react to the narcissist. And from our reaction, they're able to lead us based on what our reaction is. Guess what? A narcissist cannot lead you if you're not living from a place of reacting to the outside. Instead, you're living from a place where you're living from the inside out. So what does this look like? This looks like from now on, you're living a life from the inside out, to where any relationship, you have specific intentions. When you meet somebody, you're not reacting to them. You're intentionally looking at them. Is, what could I possibly get from interacting with this person? What good is it going to do for them or for me? You're intentionally seeking within yourself. You're living for yourself. And now some people might say, well, that sounds very narcissistic, Kevin. No, right? Narcissistic comes when you're being abusive. You start calling somebody names for no reason whatsoever, and you start abusing them. That's narcissistic. But when you're meeting people and you're living from the inside out, you're living from what your intentions are, not theirs. How many of you have heard people say, yeah, I don't trust people's intentions? Or how many of you have heard people say, when I meet somebody, I'm trying to see what their intentions are? I'm here to tell you right now, don't worry about what their intentions are. Worry about what your intentions are. If you know what your intentions are going into any interaction, then it doesn't matter what their intentions are. Their intentions can be anything. If you go and you meet somebody for the first time, let's say their intentions are in the gutter. They're already talking to you, and in their imagination, they're thinking all kinds of perverse things. Doesn't matter what they're thinking. They might even start hinting down that seductive road, right? Doesn't matter what they're thinking, because you have your own intentions for the conversation. And you're looking the person up and down, saying, I guess I see what you want, but no. My intentions are to see if you're a good person, someone I could talk to. I don't see that, so my intentions now are that I'm leaving. Goodbye. Simple as that, right? You're living with intentions. Everything that you must do comes from the intentions of your own. This is powerful. And as you heal from narcissistic abuse, you're going to be making this shift. It's a very uncomfortable shift to go from living a reactive life from outside to living from the inside and being intentional in everything you do. It is a transition. In this phase, you're transitioning, you're going to go through a phase of where it seems like you don't trust anybody, and that's okay. That's okay. Because that's the beginning of learning how to live from within yourself first, which is where we all need to be. All right? Listen, I want to be a part of your healing journey. Visit www.jointheroyalwe.com, where you can schedule your one-on-one session with me. We can have a FaceTime appointment, telephone consultation, or even a text message consultation. Also, every Monday night is Royal We Live Chat. This is an opportunity for us to get together as a community to talk about issues, ask questions, answer questions, and even take phone calls for free so long as you realize that it is live. Also, every Saturday morning is Royal We Fellowship. This is the brand new biblical study. We study the ancient literature from the beginning as it pertains to understanding this toxic narcissistic world. You can find the links to all of these channels and more in the description box. So head down to the description box right now, and I'll be back with more videos right here on the Royal We.